And finally, new rule. Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma. Sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker is about to dominate in whatever space.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America. There is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
Welcome back to AllStarBuzz. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's begin. It all started with Whoopi Goldberg taking a shot at Bill Maher on The View. A quick jab during a segment, probably expecting no response. But what came next?
I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So she was, everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide.
A tidal wave of backlash, loud, sharp, and surgical. Maher didn't just clap back. He tore down the stage from afar. No need to sit at the table or sip coffee with the panel. He aimed straight for the foundation of The View and pulled it apart piece by piece. And here's where it gets wild. Right after Whoopi's comments aired, she was suddenly pulled from the show. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree, screaming karma. But Maher didn't buy it. He went on air and said flat out there's no such thing as karma. According to him, life is random, unfair, and sometimes hilarious. Like a big game hunter getting trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions. That's not divine justice, it's absurd comedy. Maher wasn't looking for revenge. He was laughing at the idea that the universe had stepped in to balance some cosmic scale. What really got him fired up was how often Whoopi throws insults and nonsense his way, and how people cheered when she finally stumbled.
That hot mess that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not one, not two, not three, but 4 corrections, legal corrections. 4 legal notes. We only have 3 of them on camera, but look at this.
I have another legal note.
Oh, my God.
Both Trump and Pam Bondi have denied allegations of a quid pro quo. I have a legal note.
Not to mention what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean, this is a pattern with them.
By the way, before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us grow and share more intriguing stories. Now let's continue. And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any messier, enter Megyn Kelly. She didn't step onto the View set. She didn't have to. From the sidelines, she lobbed a truth grenade that landed right in the middle of their fancy coffee cups and color-coordinated cue cards. No yelling, no dramatics. She calmly ripped into the show with pinpoint accuracy, calling it what many viewers had been thinking but never dared to say, an overproduced echo chamber pretending to be a talk show. Kelly didn't just criticize their opinions, she tore down the entire format. According to her, the hosts weren't debating anything. They were playing a scripted game of synchronized outrage.
I mentioned this karma stuff on the show last week because I was relating how many texts and emails I got from people congratulating me on receiving a karmagram from the universe in the form of Whoopi Goldberg's chastisement. So I thought this would be a good time for a little tutorial on karma, which, as Americans understand it, is nothing more than an extension of the common logical fallacy called post hoc ergo propter hoc.
One person speaks, the rest nod in blind agreement, and any guest who tries to bring a new perspective, shut down instantly. No real discussion, just performance. She called out the endless cycle of virtue signaling, the one-view-fits-all mentality, and the fake sense of empowerment that turns toxic the moment someone disagrees. And the wildest part? The ladies of The View didn't even fight back. No fiery response, no clapbacks, nothing. Just silence. As if they knew deep down that what she said hit a little too close to home. One woman, one mic, and no mercy. And somehow, that single monologue left more of an impact than a full week of The View's episodes combined.
Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, yay, on January 20th of this month. Not everyone's happy about it, and many people would like us to be more focused on the insurrection that he personally unleashed, if you ask them. As we discussed earlier, they think it's as bad as, like, the Holocaust, and you don't have to take my word for it. Here is Sunny Hostin of The View.
January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, you know, like World War II, things that happened, you know, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.
Yeah, the January 6th is right up there next to the Holocaust and slavery.
Now things really start to heat up. Megyn Kelly didn't just throw shade, she dragged the entire table. She said The View was the kind of place where logic goes to die, and everyone's just yelling opinions they barely skimmed 5 minutes before airtime. Her words? Brutal. She compared it to auditing a class taught by people who never did the reading. She pointed out how the show had to issue 4 legal corrections. 4! Not 1, not 2, 4 times they had to walk back things they said on air because they got it wrong. And guess what? They only admitted to 3 on camera. That's how sloppy things have gotten. Kelly said the hosts aren't just uninformed. They're careless, and when they try to fact-check others, they end up needing fact-checks themselves. And it doesn't stop there. She accused them of trying to spin debates into soap opera-level melodrama.
And by the way, out there, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree with me?
Instead of giving viewers solid arguments or balanced views, they deliver emotional chaos with a smile. Like a group therapy session for politically confused celebrities. Kelly described each host with surgical precision Joy Behar, always angry like every topic personally broke up with her in the 80s. Sunny Hostin, acting like having a law degree makes her morally untouchable. Alyssa Farah Griffin, the so-called conservative who feels about as convincing as a vegan at a Texas barbecue. And then there's Whoopi half moderator, half napper. This wasn't criticism, it was a demolition. But while Megyn Kelly was calmly dismantling the show with sniper-level accuracy, Bill Maher came in swinging like a wrecking ball with a grin.
I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Maher, who has been the standard bearer for liberalism and in many ways leftism until the woke went bananas in this last decade, but for decades, that's what this guy has represented in America. I want you to note the tone they all talk with him. I want you to look at Sunny Hostin's body language and the way they look at him and everything else. Just because he is a lefty who hasn't gone completely bananas, here they are talking about the word woke.
He didn't mince words. Maher mocked The View for what it's become, a space where different opinions aren't debated, they're attacked. He said it's not a talk show, it's synchronized indignation. Everyone getting outraged together on cue. And God forbid someone actually challenge the status quo then. It's panic mode. Cue the cooking segment, roll the soft lighting, and pretend it never happened. Maher zeroed in on the hypocrisy.
Whoopi Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller.
Yes.
On Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
1 day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended because you know who showed up.
Yeah.
And he was, whether he was asked or not. This
But
is
he
a
was
man
invited.
who didn't care what happened to the officers on January 6th.
She promotes Joe Biden and Kamala Harris every day on that show. Trump wasn't supportive enough of the cops who were, yes, in danger on J6. How does that explain their behavior on a daily basis?
He said you can't claim to support open dialogue when every guest with a different take gets dogpiled like a toddler in a ball pit full of bees. You can't preach tolerance while treating opposing views like hate crimes. He made it clear this wasn't just about politics. This was about a culture of shutting down dissent with emotional overdrive instead of rational pushback. And then came the line that left jaws on the floor.
The term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
So why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But words do migrate. Now, I'll use any term you want.
Okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't know, want to call it the super far left? But don't tell me the left
Or maybe the super far right.
Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right.
You can hate Trump, but you can't hate everyone who likes him. That was a direct hit. Maher reminded them half the country supported Trump at some point. Dismissing all of them as evil? That's not progress. That's delusion. The best part? Maher did all this without even raising his voice. No screaming. Just sharp truths, delivered with a smirk hand not a single host could touch him. The damage didn't stop there. Maher kept going, and this time he went straight for The View's fake reputation as a safe space for women's voices. He called it out for what it really is, a toxic clique that shuts down any woman who steps out of line. He didn't just say it, he showed it. Megyn McCain? Gone. Candace Cameron Bure? Gone.
We had a discussion on The View about world superpowers from the sound of it. That's how they got into it. And Sunny Hostin made some comments about patriotism and America and Black America. It's all in there, Jason. I mean, it's all in there. I'm going to tee it up. It starts with Alyssa Farah, who's supposed to be the Republican commentator. And then you'll hear Sunny jump in. Listen.
Even liberal hosts who dared to have a slightly different take, silenced with those icy death stares that say, "You're done here." According to Maher, it's not women's empowerment, it's daytime TV mean girls with microphones. This wasn't a show that welcomes open-minded discussion. It was a place where even one unscripted opinion can get you emotionally canceled before the next ad break. Real empowerment means letting women disagree without making it a full-blown meltdown. But at The View, disagreement isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. It's like everyone's walking on eggshells, terrified they'll say the wrong thing and get exiled by the sisterhood of the perpetually offended. And Maher didn't sugarcoat it. He said the only thing consistent about The View is the outrage, a spike in moral superiority every time someone brings up free speech without a warning label. You don't survive long at that table unless you stick to the script, and the script only has one acceptable opinion. And just when you think Megyn Kelly was finished, she came back with the kill shot. She didn't just attack the show's tone or content, she broke down The View's entire formula like a high school science experiment gone totally wrong. Her message was razor sharp, screaming louder doesn't make you smarter. And just because 5 people agree on something, doesn't mean they're right. It just means they've built an echo chamber with throw pillows and catchy mugs. Kelly compared watching The View to auditing a class led by people who never opened the textbook. Every segment, every discussion felt like they were improvising their way through headlines they barely understood. And still, they acted like authorities. But what made her takedown so lethal was her tone. She didn't yell. She didn't interrupt. She calmly sliced through the nonsense with the precision of someone who knew what she was talking about. Every word landed like a punch in slow motion. And when she finished, silence. The View didn't fire back. No dramatic response, no on-air clapback, no heated discussion. Because how do you argue with someone who's not even in the room but still managed to destroy your entire setup? That's when it became clear Kelly didn't just criticize The View, she exposed it, and they had no defense. Then came the part that really exposed just how deep the rot goes. Bill Maher turned his attention to the way The View handles serious political topics, especially anything related to Donald Trump or January 6th, and what he showed was downright embarrassing. He played clips of Sunny Hostin comparing the Capitol riot to the Holocaust and slavery. Yes, that level of dramatic overreach. Maher didn't even need to exaggerate, it was all there, word for word, broadcast on national TV. He pointed out how The View has a pattern. When discussing Trump, they don't just criticize, they melt down. Everything becomes the worst thing in American history. And when someone tries to bring balance or even just a calmer tone, the reaction is pure chaos. Maher mocked their emotional spirals, saying The View doesn't have discussions, it has televised temper tantrums. He even brought up the MAGA hat argument, where one host said wearing it was like wearing a swastika. Maher didn't defend Trump, but he slammed that comparison as absurd and dangerous. Hating Trump is one thing, hating half the country for voting for him is something else entirely. And that's what he couldn't stand. The View wasn't promoting progress or unity, it was dividing people even more, turning political disagreement into moral warfare. And when that's your strategy, you're not informing anyone, you're just fueling outrage for ratings. And while the panel at The View kept spinning in emotional overdrive, Maher stepped back and made one final point that cut deeper than any insult. He said the loudest voices on The View, ones who shout down guests, who treat every disagreement like a personal betrayal, are the exact reason no one outside their bubble takes them seriously. You can feel the tension on that set every time a guest strays off script. Nervous laughter, darting eyes, and producers probably whispering into earpieces. Smile, say nothing, don't mention Megyn, don't mention Bill. And the craziest part? Neither Maher nor Kelly ever appeared on the show. They didn't have to. They stood outside the studio, tossed in a few facts and a whole lot of honesty, and watched the whole production implode. They didn't need coffee mugs or crowd applause. Just logic and clarity, and the place practically lit itself on fire. That's when it became obvious. The View isn't a talk show. It's a spectacle, a carefully choreographed chaos machine that mistakes noise for truth and emotion for argument. Kelly and Maher didn't attack from inside the arena, they dropped the truth from outside and left the whole set metaphorically smoking. And the best part? The hosts couldn't do a thing about it. Let's talk about how deep the denial really runs. Even when confronted with clear facts, even when their own contradictions are played back in front of them, The View hosts still double down. One moment that blew up online was when Alyssa Farah Griffin, the token conservative at the table, pointed out that Trump had attended the funeral of a slain officer while Joe Biden had opted for a podcast appearance. A simple contrast. But Whoopi Goldberg's reaction? Instant fury. She didn't refute it, she just looked offended. No facts, just vibes. This is the pattern. Anytime someone dares to bring up an inconvenient truth, the reaction is emotional meltdown. And it's not just about Trump. It's about how The View reacts to any narrative that doesn't fit their script. Maher and Kelly expose that clearly. When dissent shows up, they don't respond with arguments, they respond with panic. The internet noticed everything. Viewers started analyzing body language in clips, pointing out the awkward silences, the fake smiles, the way Sunny Hostin visibly stiffens whenever the conversation shifts away from their comfort zone. Producers seemed desperate to keep things under control. It was like watching a reality show. Cast realize in real time that the audience was in on the joke. No wonder Kelly and Maher didn't need to appear on set. Just pointing out the cracks was enough to make the whole thing tremble. And then came the moment when the whole illusion shattered. Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly didn't just criticize The View, they revealed what it truly is. The live-action version of a Facebook comment section. Everyone yelling, nobody listening, and the rare appearance of a fact gets treated like a cockroach at a dinner party. It's loud, messy, and impossible to take seriously. Kelly, with her calm delivery, showed that intelligence doesn't need volume. She made it clear that shouting woke slogans and staging emotional performances doesn't replace real debate. She didn't just go after the hosts, she went after the format, a talk show that claims to be about empowerment but punishes any voice that steps off the emotional script. A set that throws tantrums when challenged instead of responding with reason. Maher, on the other hand, used comedy like a scalpel. He didn't swing wildly, he cut clean. He called out how the show had become a place where every disagreement is labeled dangerous, every contrary opinion is treated like an attack. He said it wasn't even a panel anymore. It was a synchronized performance of moral panic interrupted by ads for incontinence pads. And here's what made their takedowns so powerful: they weren't part of the shouting. They stepped back, spoke clearly, and let the facts do the damage. It wasn't a culture war. It was a reality check. And The View couldn't handle it. Now, let's talk about the real reason The View couldn't fire back. See, Kelly and Maher didn't just drop critiques, they exposed a pattern. The View acts like a platform for open-minded, fearless women. Until one of them says something even slightly unscripted or inconvenient. Then it's off with her head. You've seen it happen. Megyn McCain, Candace Cameron Bure, even liberal co-hosts who stray a little off the narrative get the cold shoulder and the fake smiles. It's not empowerment, it's high school with microphones. The show brands itself as a sisterhood, but the moment someone dares to challenge the script, it turns into a pack of wolves. They unite in outrage not against injustice, but against any woman who steps outside the emotional lines they've drawn. And worse, they turn on each other. Not even all the hosts agree on what they're outraged about, but they will agree to be mad at anyone who challenges the group vibe. Kelly pointed out what no one on that set seems willing to say out loud. Real empowerment means letting someone disagree without a meltdown. But instead of meaningful discussions, we get carefully rehearsed moral superiority and passive-aggressive tantrums. Say, free speech on that show, and you might as well throw a grenade. The tension, the pearl clutching, the rushed commercial breaks, it's all part of the performance. And that's exactly what Maher and Kelly tore down without ever stepping foot in the studio. And here's where it all comes together. Kelly and Maher didn't just roast The View, they dismantled it. Layer by layer, they peeled back the scripted drama, the half-baked hot takes, the smug head nods passed off as intellectual insight. What's left underneath? A shaky table of hosts more interested in being right than being real. There were no dramatic walk-offs, no screaming matches, no flailing rebuttals. Just a few sharp truths, calmly delivered, and what followed was pure silence from the other side. The kind of silence that only happens when someone hits a nerve too deep to ignore but too painful to address. While The View gears up for yet another round of moral finger-pointing and dramatized political outrage, Maher and Kelly proved something critical. You don't need to show up in person to burn the place down. Their arguments were like gasoline, and The View's own contradictions lit the match. The show that once branded itself as a space for bold women and big ideas now looks more like a badly managed group chat with cameras. And as Kelly and Maher stood outside the chaos, calmly dismantling every illusion, it became painfully obvious when your loudest critics don't even have to enter the room to shake your entire foundation. You're not winning the culture war, you're just screaming into the void. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Also, drop your thoughts in the comments. See you on the next one.